I'm so glad you're here. My name is Emily Grace. I'm a feminine leadership guide and author, and today is the second video in my new series, How to Connect with the Goddesses. If you haven't watched my video about the goddess archetypes in general, I invite you to do that and we'll link it here. It will give you an overview of how you can use these archetypes in your own life and transition points. And if you haven't watched my video on Aphrodite, go ahead and watch that. I will link that here. I go more in depth about her strengths, her weaknesses in that video, and I invite you to take my free quiz to find out which goddess archetype you are most connected to right now, and I will link that in the description of this video. In this video, I'm sharing how to connect to the energy of Aphrodite, the Greek golden goddess of love and beauty. And I'm really excited to do this because I think there's a lot of misconstrued ideas about Aphrodite and what she embodies. And really, she is about embodying self-love, self-acceptance, pleasure, joy, and intimacy, connection with herself and others. I'll walk you through some simple, intentional ways to connect with Aphrodite's energy in this video, including going to the beach, being near the ocean, making an altar with the symbols and offerings to Aphrodite, getting a haircut, getting a style consultation, attending a book reading, enjoying self-care with a sensory deprivation tank, and writing a love letter to myself as well, including the things that are hard to love about myself. So really, there's this perception that her beauty is only skin deep, but as you'll learn in this video, she has a lot of depth to her and a lot of feminine power. In Greek mythology, she was born from the sea foam in the ocean. She rose from the ocean fully formed, a symbol of natural beauty, self-worth, and the divine feminine. She reminds us that pleasure, creativity, and self-devotion aren't luxuries, they're sacred. So if you're feeling disconnected from yourself, burnt out in your head, craving more softness, more joy, more aliveness and pleasure, then this video is for you. So that is one of the best lessons from Aphrodite, is accepting what is, especially around your body, your appearance. So she's not about altering your appearance out of a place of, hating what you see. It's about enhancing what you have, embracing what you have. And so if you struggle with that, call on Aphrodite, connect with her in these ways. And I would love to know if you've already felt Aphrodite in any of these ways, or which one of these practices resonates most. Aphrodite is also really represented by creativity. So she, in Greek mythology, in the days of Olympus, would go to literary salons and host them at her place, host artists, host creatives. And so if you have been feeling like you've been neglecting the creative side of you, the sensory side, Aphrodite is the best goddess to connect to in this way. And finally, Aphrodite is about just connecting to your body and feeling comfortable. So any form of movement or ways of being, self-care, massage, anything that makes you comfortable in your body is the gift of Aphrodite. So as you can see in lots of the pictures of her in the Greek mythology, she's not a skinny, perfect kind of body, but she's so beautiful and radiant and accepting of herself. So in modern world, you most likely see Aphrodite as the archetype of a celebrity, kind of woman like that, or an artist, someone who is in the spotlight, and a lot of it can be related to her looks, but a lot of it is based also on her relatability. So she can connect with lots of different people. So Marilyn Monroe is an example of the modern Aphrodite archetype embodied, and you can see she didn't have a perfect body at all, and she embraced what she had, and everyone thought she was gorgeous and still think so, and just unique, charismatic, an icon. And so embracing those qualities in yourself, and you'll see in this video when I take you along and do these different things, like there's part of me that sees the self-worth I struggle with in these areas, and then I call on Aphrodite to help support me through that. If you're curious about how to embody more beauty, love, and pleasure in everyday life, then keep watching. To connect with my deeper truth within and feel into my intuition, I went to a sensory deprivation tank, which, similar to Aphrodite, is a tank full of salt water, Epsom salts, and it's really a place of rebirth and almost feels as though you're in a womb. It's the same temperature as your body, so it's just a place to reconnect with your inner voice and silence the noise around you. And that's what Aphrodite is about, inner self-care that informs the external. So reconnecting with your heart, your emotions. And this is a place I go to in Asheville called Still Point. And I highly recommend this if you do find that you get distracted by a lot of the noise around you and you want to reconnect with yourself more deeply. And all you do is shower beforehand, and then it's an hour-long session in complete dark, complete stillness. There's no lights, music, or anything. And I always find that this place is so special because there's an integration room after. And here you can write down and process anything that came up. And it's just a slow entry point back into the world. And I decided to write a love letter to myself and really call out the things that maybe I find hard to love and just embrace them more, bring them out from the shadows, and just give myself more compassion and being really gentle with myself. So I'm going to honor Goddess Aphrodite by getting my haircut now, and I finally decided I don't think I'm gonna get it as short as I was thinking. I would like something new but keep the length because I really don't style my hair that much, and I think I'll have to if it's shorter. It's just not what I want to do. But I am gonna get bangs again, kind of like these front facing ones. I'll share the picture for inspiration, but let's go get my hair cut. And one other thing I'll share is that it is Friday today. I take Fridays off, and Friday is the day of Venus, the planet Venus, which Aphrodite is connected to. So it's just perfect timing on these kinds of days to rest, treat yourself, do self-care, anything with like your appearance related. So just know that, save those days for Friday. Aphrodite rules hair. So if you feel called to transform yourself with your hair, then most likely Aphrodite is visiting you. And hair in many cultures can represent energy, and so when you want to shift energy and step into a new version of yourself or make changes in your life, then cutting your hair is a great way to do that. And for me, I decided to do something new that would help me stand out a bit more and just be a little bit more intentional and stylish with getting bangs. And it's always a risk as well to know if it will look good. And so I did some research with ChatGPT beforehand to try out different hairstyles on my face. And I just feel so refreshed and renewed and different with this style of hair. And it's really funny. I had this haircut a few years ago when I was just in a transition and again in high school, and people like don't seem to recognize me when I have this haircut, which is kind of funny and just another way to shift my identity and be a new version of myself, and it's fun. So I am happy to try out this new look and just feel a lot better about how I carry myself, how I feel by this new haircut.
Cool. Feel good about everything?
Yeah.
Great. Do this.
Cool. Yeah, I like the short. More.
And then in the back, I don't know if you can see it, but you've got your layers in there.
Yeah, I'm glad the length is still like really long.
Yeah, I took from the overall length, I probably took like that, honestly, that much off.
As I mentioned, I worked with a personal stylist, and the last time I worked with one was 5 years ago. So my style has definitely evolved since then, and I was really looking to be intentional with this new style that would represent where I'm at now, where I'm going, and really just more of like an elevated, mature look. I feel if you look at my website or even other of my videos, my style has been really feminine lately and a little bit like girlish. And that's been fine, but I'm looking for something more refined and even more masculine with like structure. And my stylist, Anna Rova, was really helped me to create some looks and understand how to choose outfits and really create a style that aligns with my business brand and my goals. So, I'm going to share a bit of her presentation with you, which was really helpful. And it's just so much deeper than just looks. And so Aphrodite as well is really all about self-expression through clothes, and what you wear impacts how you feel. And something that I'd never really considered and honestly kind of made me a little uncomfortable was a mirror exercise where on the 2 hour consultation with Anna, she had me look in the mirror and pick out like body parts of mine that I like or how I feel about them, with a goal of featuring them more in my outfits. And I've never really considered that, like what parts of my body I want to highlight. And in fact, my reaction was very neutral. That was Anna's feedback. So my next step is to journal what body parts of mine like I really like and want to feature. And yeah, it's just all about embracing yourself where you are, embracing your body. Unlike some of the other goddesses, which are really mentally driven, like Athena and Persephone, it's all about like Aphrodite is embracing your body and your shape and accentuating it. So, yeah, I'll share a bit about it. And if you want to work with Anna, you can see her link in my description. And it was really helpful. She has different ways of working with her that start with just initial style consult, then letting you know the shops where you can buy the outfits. And I also was almost going to do a color analysis, but I'll do that a bit later in the year. But we picked some of the colors that I already gravitate to. Aphrodite was born from the sea, so being near the ocean helps you to connect with her origin, just showing how powerful, fluid, and free she is. And I come to the ocean to remember that everything is always in flow. I'm connected to the universe. And this was a recent trip I took to the Outer Banks in North Carolina, which is so remote and quiet. And there's something about waking up with the sun each morning that is so energizing and powerful and puts things into perspective, and just a reminder that you are connected to the universe. So Aphrodite hosted literary salons and was always in these creative gatherings. And I went to this book launch for an author named Patricia Caritzi Howell, and she was amazing. She talked about different spring medicinal plants in southern Appalachia, where I live. I love being around people interested in this subject, and it was very interactive with people sharing what they knew and how to find these herbs. And I learned a lot about some of the herbs that I think would help me on some of my kind of cycle healing journey. So I love being part of the arts in this way.
Would have a known medicinal or use as an edible.
Finally, to honor goddess Aphrodite, I invite you to make an altar. I collected shells in the Outer Banks and made this candle really easily with some microwavable soy wax I got at the craft store, mixed with some candle scent of rose. So I also included vanilla essential oil and palmarosa. Those are evocative of Aphrodite, as well as some of the shells that I picked up, and cinnamon and cardamom. All of these can help you connect with Aphrodite. I put together some Aphrodite inspired affirmations to help you embody her wisdom and her gifts. Thank you for joining me in connecting with Aphrodite today. I hope these simple rituals remind you to see yourself through the eyes of love. Soften where you've been hard, to embrace the beauty that already lives within you. If one of these practices resonated most with you, I would love to hear in the comments. Which one are you going to try? And if you're curious which goddess archetype is most alive and present in your life right now, take the quiz linked in this description to find out, and you'll receive a guide on how to connect to the goddess, as well as a Pinterest mood board and the supporting goddesses that would really help you embody yourself more fully. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow, as we will connect with more of the goddesses next time. Until next time, may you honor your desires, tend to your heart, and move through the world with grace and magnetism. See you next time.